Hi, and welcome to our last module, number 10, Going Again. What a strange heading that would be, but what does it mean? So now that you've moved into your brand new house, we've got your debt under control, you understand the importance of debt reduction, you understand how your budget works, how you've got a plan for the future, pay for the kids, all of those things you need. We're making all of this to this point happen. Now we wanted to show you, as part of Communities of the Future, we're going to introduce you to a few of our older customers. Some of our people have been with us for over 20 years, and I want you to show them to show you how planning for life is critical, and so few people do it. And so I want to show you how, at this stage, I won't go into it in depth, but come along to the webinar and I'll explain it in detail. Did you know that income tax in Australia is optional if you know how to do it? The government gives you incentives to become investors and super, all of those sorts of things. I'm going to talk to you about in the webinar about the importance of swapping income tax and possibly super to start buying extra properties. Now, I know that sounds weird, but I hope that's enough to make you book into this webinar and maybe invite your friends around for a drink while this one's on. Because you're already in your house, you've already done all the hard yards. This one is expanding your horizons to what you've got to look at 65. And it may not, because you're all so young, or the majority of you are young at this stage and just moved into your first home, I want you to see that as a springboard, and from the place you are right now, what you have to do basically to end up in the top 1 to 5% of the Australian population, which is retired on an income that they can literally have a comfortable retirement rather than scrimping and saving on the pension. And I'm sure that all of you would want to tune into that. So that's why I say bring your friends along to that webinar, because we're going to talk to you about now using the equity in your property that you've just moved into and paying off the debt. Ultimately, as your debt goes down and over time the value of your property goes up, you'll have what's called equity. We call it money in the middle of the lounge room floor. And that's the bit between what you owe the bank and what the value of your property is. That bit's yours. I can show you how to use the equity that you've got in the middle of your lounge room floor to buy property number 2. I won't go into depth now. I want you to come to that webinar, because I want to explain at that webinar the stages of your life. And what we're talking about there is benchmarking. When you're 20, what you should look like financially. When you're 30, what should you look like financially? 40, 50, 60, and then 65, 70. What are the benchmarks? What do the successful people look like at that stage of their life? It's a really important webinar, this. So I said, make a party of it and invite your friends to watch it, because the outcomes I want to show you now that you've taken the jump and you become a homeowner, I want to show you the sort of dollars you need to retire on. I want to show you how to get there, and we start from where you are now and where you want to be. We're going to show you how to project ahead. Even some of you, it could be 45, 50 years away, but I want to show you what you've got to look like by this benchmarking so that we can set up a lifestyle plan for you. And the last thing, how many properties do I need? That's all part of your part of the planning that we do. The cost of this is free to you, as everything we've all done along the track. It's just part of what we think of Communities of the Future, and the investors and people that we've known now, as I said, for some over 20 years, who are up to their 10th property. How did they do it? And that's the last one. Why am I doing this? I want you to see this as something that most people don't do. If we looked at, again, I've mentioned less than 5% of any population in Australia are going to end up comfortable in retirement. That's why we're doing it. I want to show you how to join that very exclusive club and live the life you dream about, not the life that's forced upon you by debt and worry and struggles, all of those sorts of things. So it's a really enlightening time. I want you to have a glass of champagne when we're doing the webinar on this one. It should be a fun night for us all. Thanks again, and talk to you then.